conservation of nature and natural resources, right? And मैंने बोला था कि ये जो IUCN है, that is one of the very important organization which keeps a record of different plants and animals all over the world. So they will keep a track कि कौन सा species is there, newly discovered है, which one is nearly studied, which one is completely studied, which one is endangered, which one is completely extinct now. There is not even a single species is there. So all these things, all this data is stored by the IUCN, and based on the data which IUCN is having, there are different categories in which IUCN has typically categorized the different species. So it includes extinct, extinct in the wild, critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, nearly threatened, least concern, data deficient, and the last one was not evaluated. And यहाँ पे हमने last time stop किया था. So now we'll continue with the next important part. So I think अभी तक सबको समझा रहेगा importance of biodiversity, reasons behind biodiversity, what are the causes of biodiversity, and what will happen if there is a loss of biodiversity, right? And now, yeah, any doubt? Anyone trying to say something? Hello? Hello? कुछ issues है, आवाज नहीं आ रहा है because there is some disturbances and someone is trying, like I think mute unmute हो रहा है बीच बीच में. Any doubt? Anything you want to say?
No, sir.
Okay, so fine, I will continue. So now I think we have a complete idea about what is biodiversity, different types of biodiversity, patterns of biodiversity, causes of loss of biodiversity, what will happen if there is a loss of biodiversity, and the overall importance of biodiversity. अभी इतना सब पढ़ने के बाद definitely there has to be some conclusion, right? हम लोग का भी सब information है, we know there is a diversity exist and इसका अभी loss हो रहा है, we are losing so many different important species and all, but then सिर्फ समझ के और पता हो कि there is no point, we have to take a step ahead, right? हम लोग को पता होना चाहिए that how we should able to conserve this particular biodiversity, क्या क्या हम लोग कर सकते हैं. Okay, and why we need to conserve this particular biodiversity? So because जब हम लोग को reasons पता होगा that we are having some or other benefits out of it, then only we will take a step towards the conservation. And that's why it is important to understand the concept of conservation of biodiversity. Okay, so now what does this typical conservation means, right? So the conservation of biodiversity means protection, upliftment मतलब उसको raise करना in a particular way, and then scientific management of a biodiversity to maintain its optimum level and to derive a sustainable benefits for the present and the future strategies. I think the definition is very clear and telling you, I think the most of the meaning should be clear with the definition itself. हमें क्यों protect करना है? Because we should protect it by, so that we will get some kind of desirable products benefit out of it, not just now but for future generations as well. Okay, and how we can do it? We can do it by protection, upliftment, and the scientific management. Okay, so that is something important about the conservation. And then why we need to conserve? Okay, so the reasons for the conservation are actually classified into three important categories, we can say. Okay, so the very first category is the narrowly uh, utilitarian reasons. Now what is this utilitarian? It means something which is very important and useful, which is designed to be very important and useful, but is not that attractive kind of thing. Okay, and why now we are talking in terms of this utilitarian terms? Because we being like we, when I say we, like I'm mainly talking about the human beings. So we human beings are very much dependent on this particular biodiversity. How? Because we have basic needs, all of us know: food, shelter, clothes. Okay, and many of this particular food or let's say clothes materials and all can be obtained from different plants and animal species, and that's why the biodiversity plays an important role. There are many other products which are like resins, tannins, perfumes and all, which are which are obtained from the plants and the animal sources. So that's why it is important. Okay, but these are not that critical conditions. Okay, we can obtain it from other ways also, but then that's why it is categorized as the narrowly utilitarian research. So now what others things are involved in this particular category? Many of you must have seen different typical traditional ornaments and artifacts. So there are many museums in which they actually take exhibitions and all to sell this typical traditional tribal types of ornaments and artifacts, which are obtained from different natural resources. So the aesthetic use, so they are very costly, but then even those things are obtained from the typical natural sources. And one of the important and the most critical factor is like the medicinal use. So most of the plants and animals provides medicinal properties, and these properties can be exploited for the human benefit, right? So it was recorded that around 25% of the global medicine market is coming from the biodiversity, like the plants and animals which we are having, right? It was also recorded that around 25,000 species of the plants are actually medicinal, and it was actually kept like the tribal species are very conservative in terms of their knowledge and all. So you will come across a typical term in the future or somewhere around like in the coming years, called as a traditional knowledge, TK, traditional knowledge. This knowledge, the government has actually started this initiative because it was observed that these tribals, tribal people and all, they have very depth knowledge about different plants and animals, which is not at all exploited. Matlab, you never know. Just imagine someone is staying in a typical dense forest without any medicinal facility, without any typical basic facility जो हम लोग को रोज मिलता है, still they are living a healthy life. How? It means they have managed to obtain some or other things from the nature which are helping them to stay in that particular habit, right? Which is helping them to survive with the healthy, with the good health and all. So how? Because they are obtaining different properties or different products from the plants and animals. Okay. So and it was also, so why the government has taken this typical traditional knowledge initiative? Because most of this is like unexplored. We are not even aware कि वो लोग क्या use करते हैं, and these people are very reluctant. If we go and ask them ना कि तुम लोग क्या use करते हो, they will not tell you openly, but they keep on telling this from one generation to next generation. तो वो लोग अपने within the typical tribe they maintain this particular record, but then they are reluctant towards the other species. Another reason for this was because many foreign countries, since India is one of the most rich source of different Ayurvedic plants and all, many foreign countries, like researchers from the foreign countries come to India, they explore in India, they will talk to these people, they will, because they are financially very strong, they provide them some money and all, and then they try to take knowledge from the particular people, about these particular plants and animals. Then they will collect all the data, they will go back to their country, and they will exploit अपने ही चीजें वो लोग लेके अपनी ही चीज लेके उस पर रिसर्च करके they will put it on their name. So पूरा क्रेडिट किसको जाएगा? वो कंट्री को जाएगा, but the source or the typical knowledge जो उन्होंने लिया था, that is from the India. So that's why all these things happen. So जो अभी मैंने explain किया about the things from the, like they take it from us and they take the entire credit. It is not something I'm talking as a hawa mein. It's actually happening, and the term is called as biopiracy. So all these things are there. We don't now care about the biopiracy, but the entire agenda behind telling all these things to you, to tell you the importance of the biodiversity, basically how it is affecting us. So even if it's a small things, they play a major role. And nowadays, if you go in any research institutes and all, any colleges basically, even in your basic like जो भी colleges रहेंगे, if you go to the degree section of the college, you will observe that most of the departments, especially the botany, zoology and all, they work in a field of bioprospecting. Bioprospecting का मतलब है to explore the new products from the nature, from the plants and from the animals. It can include different chemical compounds or different genes, different microorganisms, different macroorganisms, or any other valuable product which is not which is not present at that time, which is novel and having a specific function. So that's why it is important to have a typical conservation. तो अगर हमने कंजर्व ही नहीं किया तो ना तो बायोप्रोस्पेक्टिंग हो सकता है, ना तो मेडिसिनल यूज मिलेंगे, ना तो आर्टिफैक्ट्स एंड ऑर्नामेंटल लाइक द टिपिकल एस्थेटिक यूज होगा, ना तो कोई अदर प्रोडक्ट्स लाइक परफ्यूम्स, टैनिंग्स, रेजिन्स, कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला हम लोग को. तो दिस इज अ टिपिकल थिंग्स जो important है, and for this reasons we need to conserve the biodiversity. The next important points come in the picture is like broadly utilitarian reasons. Now what is this? तो अभी जो मैंने बोला था नैरोली, मतलब ठीक है वो important है, but somehow we could manage if we are not getting these things. How we can manage? Because अभी हम लोग ने इतना advancement in technology कर दिया है कि some or other way, some chemical method or some artificial synthetic methods can be done and we get something out of it. Definitely the value will not be as same as the natural products, and there has to be some other effects also. But इस बोलते ना कुछ ना होने से अच्छा कुछ होना है, that kind of thing. So we can manage. So that's why it is narrowly. But then there is something which is very very important, which is obtained from, which we are receiving from this biodiversity, or mainly I should talk in terms of the plants and the trees which are present on Earth. So they have given very like they in a every topic now they have given some taglines, and I really like the taglines they have given. So the very first line, if you read from the broadly utilitarian reasons, so if we find out the cost of the oxygen cylinder and try to calculate the value of oxygen we breathe, with such is we will understand what the nature is giving us for free. And I think we all are now matured enough to understand कि वो क्या meaning बोल रहा है. That one line is saying 100 things to us, that how important it is, because we don't need to pay anything to nature as such. We are getting it for free. हम लोग को so much value नहीं रहा है. We are like फोकट का ही तो. So when you need to pay a few $1,000 for a small amount, ना, then we will realize हाँ जब हम लोग को free में मिल रहा था, at that time we did not care about it, and now that's why we are suffering. And that time is not far now, because looking at the current situations and the things happening in the environment and the typical, like globally we can say, I don't think like within maybe next 20-30 years में तो शायद कुछ ना critical हो ही सकता है. If we do not take the right step now, अगर हमने अभी step लिया, तो there are few steps taken by the governments and all, which we will be discussing in the next part. So just keeping this on a hold for a moment. The entire बोलते ना एक bottom line behind telling all these things to you is like we are getting something very crucial and very important thing from our nature, and it will be very very difficult to get it without like from the man-made things. So अगर nature से मिल रहा है, that's why it is having a lot of benefits. So and that is the reason we need to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, so they have given the example. So I think सब लोग ने वो न्यूज़ तो पढ़ा ही रहेगा. अगस्त 2019 में हुआ था, Amazon forest was burning, like it was burning like hell. मतलब बहुत बहुत वो शांति नहीं हो रहा था, बहुत जल रहा था. And at that time सब न्यूज़ में जो मैंने पढ़ा रहेगा that around 20% of the total oxygen जो है अर्थ का, that actually comes from the Amazon forest, because it has a many trees and a dense area which is actually a source of the oxygen all over the world. तो अगर अमेज़न फॉरेस्ट ही हो जाएगा, लाइक डैमेज हो जाएगा, डेफिनेटली सम अदर वे इट विल अफेक्ट द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स ऑन अर्थ, बिकॉज ऑक्सीजन का लेवल कम हो जाएगा. So that is one example. Another best example is just now, like January, the January 2020, the fire in Australia. It was also a very big problem, and like I think thousands of species actually died, and we have no clue कि number कितना था, कितने कितने लोगों को record भी नहीं मिल रहा है कि मतलब what. So I think सब लोगों ने वो images देखा रहेगा. It was floating on all the social medias, including Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook and all. That how the kangaroos and these typical koalas and all were like half burnt state and all. So it looks very hurting, disappointing thing कि मतलब क्यों. And we, okay, now the Australia, if I don't know how many of you are following up the things or the news after that thing, they have taken a very good initiative towards rebuilding of that forest. So they are now using the drones and the different seeds and also that they can grow up the forest again. So such things need to be done, or else it will be very complicated. Okay, so these are another example how the broadly it is important to conserve the biodiversity. Okay, and there is another example, like one important line they have given, like मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा that we the humans need to rethink about our attitude towards nature, and I think we do need to think about this typical attitude, or else we never know what will happen the next. So that is something, I think this is why this is important for you all to uh, know all these things, or to study this chapter. I know some log mein se aaj logo ko to it will be like very boring and all. The same thing used to happen with us also when I was in your stage. But then when now I read after the so many years after my 12th and all the studies which I had done, so it now realizes that it is important that you should have all these things at the early stage of your studies. So even if you don't like, that's okay, but then read it as a story. You should understand. You should be able to tell others if something is going wrong. So don't ignore. At least read it at least once. Okay. Then the third important reason is the ethical reason. जो मैं हमेशा से बोलते आ रहा हूँ, that we are not the only species on the earth. We are staying here along with the many other species like lakhs and crores of other species. और जितना अर्थ हमारा है उतना ही उन लोग का है. So I don't know, like I think अभी कुछ दिनों पहले ना there is one typical picture floating on the social media. So the picture was depicting that कि मतलब human beings ने ना पूरा surface water का वाट लगा दिया है. It is highly polluted and all. There is nothing purity as such. And फिर वो तो खराब करके now then what they did? They used the groundwater. तो मतलब बोरवेल लगा के the person was pumping the groundwater for his benefit. और एक साइड में ना सब एनिमल्स लाइक द एलिफेंट, द टाइगर्स एंड लायन, दे वर लाइक सरप्राइज वे में कि अभी हम क्या करें, बिकॉज दे कैन नॉट टेक द ग्राउंड वाटर. दे डू नॉट हैव एनी इक्विपमेंट और एनी वे टू टेक आउट द ग्राउंड वाटर. So the only source of water which they are having is the surface water, and now they are not getting it because we have polluted it. And that's why the most of the species are like dying and they are getting extinct now, because they are not getting the enough resources, and water is something I think very important for all the living beings. So just being very selfish and all, it's not gonna help us in any way. For now we are completely blind with respect to environment things, but then very soon our eyes will open and then we will understand what is going wrong and what is right. So this proposes the ethical reasons that we are not the only one, and we need to lie in a synchrony. Basically हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ interaction करें. That is what ecosystem is, right? If even one species is existing, it means like extincting, sorry, there will be imbalance. So that's why this proposes the ethical reasons, and we need to respect all the species which are there on the earth. Okay, and because they are also having the equal right to survive irrespective of कि वो हमारे कुछ फायदे थे या नहीं, because now they have mentioned this very nicely, irrespective of their known or prospective economic use. Because we have a very bad habit कि अगर मेरे काम का कुछ है, I will take it, I will nurture it, I will take care of it because मुझे उससे फायदा हो रहा है. Something is not beneficial to us, we are like मुझे क्या करना है, कोई और देख लेगा, that kind of attitude. So that's why they have given all these things to us. Okay. So this, I hope you understood the three important reasons why we need to conserve the biodiversity. The first one was about the narrowly utilitarian reason, then the broadly reasons, and the third one is the ethical reasons. So any doubts till now? Any doubts till now?
No, sir.
Good. Now we understand reasons why to conserve biodiversity. Now we should also know how to conserve. What can be the measures we should take, or what is happening currently at the national or international level, right? So that we will be studying in our next topic, that is the conservation of biodiversity. Okay, so there are two important ways for conservation, that is in situ conservation and the ex situ conservation. I think you must have heard the terms in situ and ex situ somewhere in your like school days and all. So what is in situ? In anyone? A basic difference between the word in situ and ex situ? What is the
मतलब
difference?
हम लोग प्लांट्स को ऐसे उनके लोकेशन में हम लोग ग्रो करते तो हम लोग इन
Yes, so Akansha is correct. It is conservation in their own locality. जहाँ पे उनका origin था वहीं पे उनको अगर हमने protect किया, that is in situ. And if we are trying to protect it at some other places, उनको वहाँ पे लेके आके हम लोग एक particular environment create करते हैं for their survival, that is a ex situ. Okay. So now we will go in detail about the in situ and ex situ. The very first one is the in situ conservation. So it is one of the most appropriate methods. So you keep in mind. So they will ask you which is the most appropriate method for the conservation. So it is a in situ. Now why? Because यहाँ पे हम लोग plants को या फिर animals को protect करते हैं in their natural habitat. So let's say something is present or some organisms are exist in a typical Himalayan areas में. तो अगर मैं उनको हिमालय में ही कंजर्व कर रहा हूँ, प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा हूँ, देन दैट कैन बी कॉल्ड एज अ इन सिटू कंजर्वेशन. बट अगर मैं उनको हिमालय से महाराष्ट्र में लेके आ रहा हूँ, मैं उनको टिपिकल जोलॉजिकल पार्क में डाल रहा हूँ, देन दैट कैन बी द एक्स सिटू कंजर्वेशन. सो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर टू हैव अ इन सिटू. व्हाई? बिकॉज वो उनका लोकेलिटी है, वो उनका नेचुरल हैबिटेट है. सो दे आर ऑलरेडी बोलते ना adapted to that particular environment, तो उनको survival becomes easy and normal. But जब हम उन लोग को दूसरी जगह पे ट्रांसफर करते, it becomes very difficult for them to adapt. It's not like they will not survive, they will, but then it is not that good, or let's say इतना easy and more acceptable, because जितना वो अपने एरिया में कर सकते उतना वो यहाँ पे अच्छे से ग्रो नहीं कर पाते. They will grow, but then obviously there will be some other limitations with it. Okay, so that is called as a natural habitat protection or the in situ protection. So one of the example is like now government has announced the forest like the Kanha forest as a tiger reserve, because वहाँ पे बहुत सारे tigers थे. So it's not the, so there were two ways. Either they can transfer, like they can take up the tigers from that one place and shift them to other zoological parks or national park, or they can announce the entire area as now the natural habitat for them. So that's what the government had done. उन्होंने वो कान्हा फॉरेस्ट को ही एज अ टाइगर रिजर्व करके डिक्लेयर किया, so that the tigers can stay in their natural habitat. Okay, so that's why it is also called as the conservation at home. You don't need to go at any other place. You will get conserved and protected at your home. That's why the in situ conservation is also called as a conservation at home. Okay, one of such way to protect the for the in situ conservation basically is the hotspot. So I think I had discussed previously also about the hotspot. So around 34 biodiversity hotspots had been identified all over the world. Now, what are these hotspots? These are the regions with the high species richness as well as density. मतलब जहाँ पे बहुत different types of organisms है, plants है, and they are present in a different number, like highly in a high number basically, so that the area becomes rich in a biodiversity. Okay, so if we could protect these particular hotspots, then it will help us to prevent the extinction of different organisms, because these hotspots are highly rich in different organisms and the plants. Okay, so apart from we just can't do कि हाँ अरे plant बचाओ, plant ये करो, झाड़ लगाओ ना. Just social awareness. Yes, social awareness is one of the very important thing. I have to accept that fact. But then only social awareness is not enough. There has to have typical laws and regulations in order to protect this particular area, and that's why government is taking more and more steps now. We will be studying different steps, initiatives taken by the government in our next part. Now, in in situ conservation, there is also one of the other things like introduction of varieties which are traditionally used into farming and horticulture. So it actually involves the not only the plants and animals, but some varieties which are actually involved in the plants like farming and horticulture. Even those varieties can be protected in their natural habitats. So one of the examples which they had given is in Maharashtra only, the Paura tribals in Satpura have protected the varieties of the corn with the different colored kernels. Now, what is the different colored kernels? We will say कि कॉर्न को हमने जो देखा रहेगा वो तो सिर्फ येलो कलर का रहता है, बिकॉज वही हम लोग के सपने देखा है. बट देन एक्चुअली देयर आर सम वैरायटीज ऑफ द कॉर्न्स जहाँ पे द उसका जो रहता है सीड्स और द कर्नल्स जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, दैट इज एक्चुअली ऑफ डिफरेंट कलर्स. यू कैन सी सम रेडिश कलर, सम ब्लूइश कलर आल्सो. सो देयर आर सच थिंग्स, बट वी हैव नॉट इवन सीन सच थिंग बिकॉज हम लोग को चांस ही नहीं मिला, या फिर द स्पीसीज इज वेरी एंडेमिक नाउ. सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आर वेरी एंडेमिक नाउ, तो वो सिर्फ कोई पर्टिकुलर एरिया में ही प्रेजेंट है, because we could not conserve them in all the areas. So, but then, as they have mentioned very clearly, that now the Paura tribals have conserved or protected this particular variety of the corn with different colored kernels, and that is also one of the example of a in situ conservation. Okay, so now as I mentioned about the hotspots, so there are in India, so okay, all over the world 34 hotspots there, but in case of India, there are three important hotspots, that is the Western Ghats, Eastern Himalayas, and the Indo-Burma. At my time, like around like when I was in 12th standard, there were only two, but now the Indo-Burma is I think newly added. I don't know when it happened, but then now as they have mentioned, we have three hotspots in India, that is the Western Ghats, Indo-Burma, and the Eastern Himalayas. Please note it down and keep in mind. This is important thing for your MCQ's point of view. Okay. And as I mentioned, if we protect this particular hotspot, we can reduce the risk of extinction, and that is also by around 30%, which is a very high number. Okay, so that's why just by protecting the hotspot, we can protect the different species and the biodiversity. Okay. So apart from that, there are different in situ conservation ways, that is the biosphere reserves, matlab different forest-like things, national parks. So there are particular areas जो गवर्नमेंट ने एज अ नेशनल पार्क अनाउंस कर दिए थे. तो वी हैव इन मुंबई देयर इज अ संजय गांधी नेशनल पार्क. देन देयर आर मल्टीपल अदर नेशनल पार्क्स इन महाराष्ट्र एंड ऑल ओवर द इंडिया. सो देयर आर अराउंड 90 नेशनल पार्क इन इंडिया and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. Sanctuaries is like abhayaranya. In Marathi we call it abhayaranya. So these are dedicated areas for the conservation of a particular animal or a plants, let's say. Okay, if I talk specifically in terms of Maharashtra, there are 5 national parks and 11 sanctuaries in Maharashtra. Okay, now there is one more interesting thing for the in situ conservation. I think most of you have heard about this thing called as a sacred groves, right? In Marathi we call it as the Devrai. So these are the typical areas which are protected, because we Indians, though there are like reasons, like there are things that where we overexploit the nature and the diversity we are having, but we are also very religious, and our culture and religion always tell us about the protection of the biodiversity, and we worship different plants, different animals, right? So with this, we have with this as inspiration. Uh, in different villages, there are different areas which are actually conserved on a name of the god. So they say it as a sacred grove because this particular area is the god's area and no one can exploit it for any reason. So it is not even allowed to break or cut any tree or even a single branch from such areas. And that's how they actually conserve these particular areas, and how it is benefiting because since there is no exploitation or deforestation in such areas, the areas become very rich in different biodiversity like plants, like medicinal plants and some animals, and that's how they help us. So there are different such areas in case of Khasi and Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya, then some areas of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Bastar, Chanda, like there are multiple areas in Madhya Pradesh as well where this typical plants, this typical way of conserving plants is followed. Okay, and tribal people actually take the care of such plants. Okay, but then looking at the way we are going, again there is one interesting sentence they have given. Like at any every point, they have given one tag as a typical sentence, which is very good thing. That but with the increasing lust and the agreed, sorry, with the increasing lust and the greed, how safe the sacred grows are. We must think about it. So they are actually making us think in detail about each and every point, and which is very good thing about this typical chapter. It's not just ki padho aur chhod do. It's actually making us think about different things, different aspects with respect to the environment. Okay, so that is all about the in situ conservation. I hope you understood it. If there are any doubts with respect to in situ conservation, we may ask now. Yes, no. Good. So the next topic is the ex situ conservation. Okay. Now, what is ex situ conservation? It is something completely opposite to the in situ conservation. और जो मैंने already थोड़ा सा explain किया था. That when a species is critically endangered, मतलब उसको जरूरत है protection की. So what we do, we give it protection, but not in a natural habitat. We take it to the other place and then we provide it a typical protection, and that is called as the ex situ conservation. Okay. So, as I clearly mentioned, the protection is not in the natural habitat, but away from their natural habitats. Okay, so it includes different areas like the wildlife safari parks, zoological parks, botanical gardens, which actually protect or conserve the plants away from their natural habitats. Okay. And why we need to do this? Because there are some species which are already endangered and we are not really sure कि अगर हमने उसको nature में रख भी दिया तो to what extent it will be able to save itself by natural process. So just to confirm or just to take an extra uh, precautions, we can say the ex situ conservation is implemented. So there is one example which they had given, like if a particular animal is like and is critically endangered. So what they do, they take a pair of some particular animals and then they will do the breeding in a controlled condition so that they will make them to breed and then they will try to increase their number, and then once the number is up to the mark, we can say, then they will release or they will send them to their natural habitat. So this is something happens in case of ex situ conservation, and there are multiple different examples of ex situ conservation. One of those example is a crocodile bank of Chennai, where they are actually conserving the crocodiles. Okay, so that is in Chennai. Another example is about the seed bank. So as the animals are going extinct or being endangered, in the same way, plants are also getting endangered. And one of the such example we just discussed about the colored kernels of the corn, right? So in order to protect these typical plants, different seed banks had been established in different areas of our country to conserve the wild varieties of the food grains and the vegetables. Okay. Nowadays we do have other techniques like the tissue culture, in vitro fertilization, and all. जहाँ पे हम लोग गैमेट्स वगैरह स्टोर करते हैं so that we can use them for a later purpose. And I think you all know now what is tissue culture and what is IVF. Yes or no? We had discussed it in a biotechnology chapter. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So yeah, so that's good. So यहाँ पे actually we are trying to conserve the cells to be more precise gametes, and we can use it for later purpose. So one term they have used here is called as cryopreservation. Now what is cryopreservation? It is the preservation of a typical cells or typical parts of the animal at the in a condition of liquid nitrogen. So they use liquid nitrogen. This temperature is very low, that is minus 196 degrees Celsius. And in these conditions, we can protect or we can save the such living tissues or living cells for a longer time. So please understand the word cryopreservation, because they may ask you this question in your MCQs, especially for the NEET students. So I think with now we understood the importance of biodiversity, the reasons why we need to conserve it, and then the two important ways to conserve the biodiversity. Now there is one para which they have given under the term. Do you know? Yeah, where they have given one kind of small story from the Japan of Dr. Akira Miyawaki, how she has cultured different plants and how we have exploited or we have taken up that technology and now using it for our birth purpose in our country. So I will not go in detail about this particular part or no, because this is just for your information. So it's, I think you should read it by yourself. If you read and you did not understand, you can always come back to me. But for now, I think you all should read it by yourself. Okay. So then I will move forward with the next part. तो हम लोगों ने कंजर्वेशन के रिजल्ट देखे, हम लोगों ने कंजर्वेशन कैसे करना है वो देखा. But now, as we know, nobody is that serious. Everyone is busy in their own life and all. And we have different laws and all implemented, but then we have to take a typical strict action if certain things are not going in a flow or kuch wrong ho raha hai. So there has to be some ways to handle it, right? So when all over the world they realize that the biodiversity is in a danger and we need to take a step. So there was a conference which was conducted in Rio de Janeiro, that is called as the Earth Summit Rio de Janeiro, which was conducted in a where the India actually participated and which actually happened in 1992. It is a party to like it is actually taken by the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD 1992. Okay. तो जब यहाँ पे सब लोग गए थे, so many different countries had participated along with the India, as I mentioned, or then they realized that we need to take this, like looking at the current scenario and all, it is very important to take a steps towards protection and the conservation of biodiversity. And with this agenda, then they decided that each country should take some steps. Okay, and with that particular, based on the discussions and the things which was happened in the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, India actually had planned to had framed a typical law that is called as the Biological Diversity Act 2002. So the name is BD Act 2002, Biological Diversity Act 2002. Okay. So what this particular law says, it actually says that the biodiversity, which actually includes plants, animals, microorganisms, or their parts and genetic materials, and also byproducts should be protected and conserved. So that is what the Biological Diversity Act 2002 talks about. Okay. But then you need to understand that it does not include, or we can say it excludes the value-added products and the human genetic materials. So we cannot conserve them under this particular law. It is mainly for the plants, animals, and the microbes. Okay. So is something I actually had told you about the traditional knowledge and all. So the same they had actually mentioned here also under the term about traditional knowledge and about the ethnobiological terms. So it is all to save the और टिपिकल ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज जो इतना एक्सप्लोर नहीं हो पाया है या फिर वी हैव नो आइडिया एंड देयर इज मेनी मोर थिंग्स येट टू नो सो ये सब पढ़ने के लिए ये सब पता करने के लिए वी हैव टू टेक एक्स्ट्रा एफर्ट्स इवन फॉर दैट दिस लॉज आर हेल्पिंग नाउ एंड इन ऑर्डर टू मेंटेन दिस लॉ तो बना लिया बट वो फॉलो अप हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है फॉर दैट वी हैव अ पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम राइट और इज नोबडी विल फॉलो अप द लॉ and for that typical way for that typical reason there is a three-tier system which is now established in our country. So at a national level there is a National Biodiversity Authority, that is the NBA. Then there is a state level, which is the State Biodiversity Board, SBB. And then at a regional level, or we can say at a local level, there is a Biodiversity Management Committee, BMCs. So these are the committees or these are the typical systems which are there, which actually maintain and which actually make sure that these typical laws are being followed. Okay, so they will make sure. So if something is happening at a particular level, let's say कल्याण में कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, तो जो कल्याण का रहेगा बायोडाइवर्सिटी मैनेजमेंट कमेटी, दैट विल फर्स्ट कम टू नो कि ऐसा कुछ तो हो रहा है. They will try to sort it out at their level, but अगर नहीं हो रहा है, they will go to the state biodiversity boards. The state board will try to solve the issue at their level, but अगर नहीं हुआ, then they will go to the NBA, and the NBA is the final thing. Whatever rules they will be giving or whatever decision they will be taking is kind of final thing. Okay, so that's how the system is followed. And because of this system, it is mandatory for any foreigner person or NRI as well as Indian citizens and institutions to seek permission from the NBA before exploiting local resources. Now I think you will understand why I was telling you about the biopiracy thing. Because these foreigners and the other people, ये लोग आते तो हमारे यहाँ पे है, they roam here and there, they go at different places, they explore and then they get information. And वो सब लेके वो जाते हैं अपने घर वापस और सब हम लोग का यूज करके they try to exploit it on their names. There is no wrong in using something from other countries. You can do that, but there is a typical way and typical rules which needs to be followed. So if we are taking something from India, they have to give a due credit to India that the resources or the sources which we are using in our research have been obtained from India. But people generally don't do such things and then they face such problems. Okay. Now, if someone is not following the rules and all, then they will have to face a serious legal action basically, which includes a jail, like the imprisonment, or even a fine up to the 10 lakh rupees. So this is something, a good step I can say towards the conservation of biodiversity, because जब तक कुछ pay नहीं करना पड़ता, people will not take it seriously, right? Then there is one short story, No the Conservationist, basically. Even this is something you should read by yourself, but I think we need to discuss it because it is something from a very important thing. So this is like a lady whose name is Rahibai Popere, who is called as a seed mother of India, of Maharashtra. Why? Because she is a lady who is staying in very remote areas of the Ahmednagar, but staying at there without having any typical official degree or a typical knowledge जो हम लोग colleges से लेते हैं and all, she has managed to maintain her own seed bank, and in her seed bank she actually had protected around 54 crops and 116 varieties of different plants, which includes brinjal, guava, mango, spinach and all. Now you will say, इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है, we will get it anyway. No, the varieties which she is conserving or protecting are the very native varieties which are now like endangered, which are not available everywhere. And that's why has taken a lot of attention. If you go to the YouTube and all, you will find many videos where she had actually shown. Even her seed bank is not something like very good infrastructure and all. It is a small typical गाँव वाला घर जहाँ पे she had managed to save all these typical plant varieties. So if you are interested, you can go back to the YouTube or any typical news. You can just search about Raibai Pupere and you will get all the details about her. Okay, and now she is the one who is giving training to the farmers, to the students, to the researchers about how to protect and conserve the things. So just imagine the one who was not having a typical knowledge or typical scientific knowledge, still she had managed, and now she is one of the 3 Indians on BBC list of 100 women in 2018. So that's why it is important to discuss. So you don't need to have a very good scientific knowledge. You just need to have a that motivation that I need to contribute towards something, and that's what the Raibai tells us, right? Then with this, we have finished one of the important part of our chapter. If I'm not wrong, तुम्हारे book में इतना ही है for your board exams. Can you please confirm once? The next part is of environmental issues, and I think that is not a part of your board exams. So I don't think we will be continuing with that because last time भी तुम लोगों ने बोला कि नहीं चाहिए. So if you want me to take that part, I will take. But I think last time we discussed किया था, so it shouldn't be a problem. So I will not take that part, but I just want you all to confirm once that इतना ही है या नहीं. Okay. Okay. Are you all sleeping or what?
हाँ सर इतना ही है.
Then there comes the last part. It is actually just 2 stories which they had given, which is a part of your syllabus basically. That is, there are 2 case studies which are given, and I think both those case studies are something which you already know, because सब लोगों ने स्कूल में ये स्टोरी तो सुना ही रहेगा about the Bishnoi, the Amrita Devi Bishnoi story, जहाँ पे she actually hugged the tree and then the king's soldiers cut the tree along with the person who was hugging the tree. So I think everyone knows. So we will just go through the stories once again. So it is like somewhere around 1731, जहाँ पे the ministers of the king of Jodhpur in Rajasthan, they were searching for a typical tree, typical plant, trees to get a wood for the new palace, right? So they came to this typical, they came to the Bishnoi community, which was peacefully staying in the nature because they are a nature loving tribal basically, okay? So when the king's people tried to cut down the trees, these Bishnois opposed them. You know, you cannot do that. So one lady, whose name was Amrita Devi, actually hugged the tree in an attempt to protect the tree. She said, no, if you want to cut it, you have to cut it along with me. And when she started doing that, even her 3 daughters and the hundreds of other Bishnois, everyone started doing the same. And then the soldiers from the kings actually started cutting the trees along with that, and all of them actually lost their life. But their dedication for saving the nature, for saving the trees, was like highly appreciated. And based on that, now the government of India had recently instituted the Amrita Devi Bishnoi Wildlife Protection Award for the individuals who actually are trying to show an extraordinary effect or courage in order to protect the wildlife. Okay, so I think सब लोगों ने ये पढ़ा ही रहेगा. Then the next part comes like something called as the joint forest management. That is in 1980. So when the government realized that these tribal people, जो कि very happily and peacefully staying in the forest and all, are taking a very good care of this particular forest. So they started this initiative of joint forest management, that is the JFM. जिसका मतलब है these particular communities are allowed to stay in a contact, like stay in these particular areas and to take care and manage the particular forest. In return, the communities will get benefits of various forest products like the fruits, the gum, the rubber, the medicines and all, and they can stay there. So it is like kind of mutualism kind of thing. So they are going there, they are protecting the forest, managing the forest, taking care of the forest, and in return they can exploit the forest products like the fruits, gums, and all. So that is coming somewhere under the term joint forest management. Then comes the next part of the Mission Harit Kranti or Mission Harit Maharashtra. Basically, it is something started in 2016 by the government of Maharashtra, where they had aimed to plant around 50 crore trees in the 4 years. Okay, so under this project, they actually targeted various districts of Maharashtra, and it was said that okay, your district में इतने trees लगाने हैं, वो district में उतने लगाने हैं, and all this was set up uh, in a line with the national forest policy. Okay, with the aim that we all know there was 33% forest area in our country, but now with advancement and with different reasons for different reasons, it is depleting, right? So in order to maintain this 33%, this 50 crore trees plantation objective or the drive was started. Okay, and for this there are multiple different facilities which were provided. So if you go कुछ information चाहिए about the plantation and all, if they are interested to plant trees, they can call on a different they can call on a helpline number which is a 1926, which is a toll free and 24 hours available thing, and they will get all the information regarding the plantation protection and all. Okay, then there comes the next one, like they have also created the different mobile applications like the My Plants, where they can record details about the plantation, such as kitne number hai, kitne species hai, and location kya hai and all. So all this kind of information. So they have given different data about 2016, 17, and 18 also, different about the kitne plants were planted and all. You can just, I don't think you need to remember the numbers as such, but then you need to understand the aim. The 50 crore plants should be planted in a 4 years, and that is under the term Mission Harit Maharashtra, which was started by government of Maharashtra in 2016. Okay. So in the year 2019, the government aimed at the phenomenal 33 crore sapling plantation, which was launched at the Anandvan, Morona. So Anandvan is one of the place, I think, so everyone has heard about the Baba Amte or the Prakash Baba Amte, Mandakini Amte. So all of them, they actually have maintained these particular areas known as Anandvan. So in that area, they actually have planted a lot of different trees to make this particular drive successful. Okay. And as I mentioned, there is something called as the Miyawaki method, जो कि मैं तुम लोगों को पढ़ने के लिए दिया हूँ, about the, like, just read by yourself. So now the government actually had decided to adopt this Japanese method by the Akira Miyawaki for a plantation of different plants and trees. Okay, and it was found that this particular pattern is actually going good. Even though it was first tried and used in Japan, they found that the same pattern can be implemented in our country or in our state as well. And they actually had following this Miyawaki pattern, and then it's showing good results in terms of the plantation and the growth of the plants. So that's all about the typical biodiversity, its conservation, and then the case study. The environmental issues parts, which mainly includes the pollution of air and water and all, that is not a part of your syllabus. So I am not covering that now. But if you feel, I mean, the entire class feels that you want to learn that part also, please tell it to sir, and then sir will convey it to me. Okay. Then there is something called like use your brain power. They have given so many things in such boxes. It's a request and suggestion as well. Please go through these parts. It is very interesting. So now they have mentioned something about the floods which had happened in Sangli and Kolhapur last year, and what problem they face. So now I have told you so many things about the environment, about the different issues we are facing. So with that, what do you feel? What can be the reasons for these floods and all? And the most interesting part of this chapter or your entire book is, they have given a very recent data, like 2015, 19, 18, सबका दिया है उन्होंने. So that is one of the good things. You don't need to study something जो कि 10 साल पहले हुआ था, 15 साल पहले हुआ था. Because 15 साल is a very big span, right? Hundred of things have been changed after that. But now whatever you are studying is something very recent from 2018, 19 and on. So it is one of the good things for me. So with this, I will declare that the chapter is over. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me right now. Anything else? Anything you want to ask?